The humanitarian situation in Tigray is beyond imaginable. Clearly, the international community and governments like the Australian government have got to ramp up efforts to rein in the Ethiopian government. Clearly, the international community is not doing enough, and I'm hopeful that with the change of government here in Canberra, that the new government, the new Minister of Foreign Affairs, Penny Wong, might take extra steps to pressure the Ethiopians to stop what I and many other people would characterise as genocide.
This strikes at the very heart of compassion, of what we should be doing in humanitarian aid, in what we should be doing as a government to speak up about the atrocities that I've seen here. It is dreadful, truly dreadful to see, particularly so many women and children suffering unnecessary hunger when there is food available not that far away, suffering from awful, awful conditions, but also rape, murder, indeed genocide. This is very much what happened in Rwanda in 1993-94 and shouldn't be happening this year, any year, but certainly not in the modern era. It's just appalling.
When you see state-sanctioned intentional violence, sexual violence, destruction of cultural icons, mass movements, intentional mass displacements of people, I don't think you could describe this as anything other than an example of genocide, and a deeply distressing example of genocide. This is an intentional attack against the very lifeblood and the people of Tigray. I think it's unquestionable that Australia has an international obligation to lift its game in relation to Tigray. I mean, we've seen how generous Australians can be when they understand the nature of a conflict, and we've seen Australia give generously to the people of Ukraine. Well, we have similar or perhaps worse levels of appalling violence, long-standing violence in Tigray. And I think part of what this exhibition does, it educates MPs, and that's part of educating the community, so that we can see that it's time that we lifted the support for Tigray, because $6 million, which is all that Australia has given, is a drop in the ocean, given the level of need that we see in Tigray. This is urgent business, and I think you've communicated that urgency.
For the size of the population that's there, the numbers of people killed and injured and abused is staggering and horrific. I just want you to know that we are listening, and we have your back, and we'll do everything that we can in the Parliament here.
Say to the Australian Tigray community, there are people here who care. There are people like me who are doing what we can to speak up, and will continue to do that. And in fact, I'll ramp up my efforts as a direct result of what I have seen and what I've been briefed on today.
I know you're very resilient people. I know you're very brave. Know that people here have your back, people here in the Parliament. This is above politics and has to be. And I'm sure the Australian government, the Australian Parliament will do all we can to help you.
Well, I think the message that I'd first of all give is you have extraordinary leadership here in Australia, amongst the diaspora here in Australia, who are doing what you would want them to do, to come talk directly to politicians and explain the scale of need and distress in Tigray. But I'd also hope what you get from this is a sense that you're not alone, that there's a growing number of your elected representatives who are going to be there to support you. I'm one of the Green senators in the federal parliament, but what I'd hope we see is politicians from across the political spectrum acknowledging our combined humanity, our shared humanity, and stepping up to support Tigray.